we like to start with something that we have seen in the wild because we like to always focus on something that is actionable that you can deal with and start doing and dealing with today. And so this is something we've seen and we're going to discuss. And sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes it's something that's cringeworthy. And I'm going to go first because the thing I saw just blew me away is in an email. And in email, I've seen, now this is going to get controversial, either GIF or GIF. And we're not going to get into, we may have to have a special episode for
which is it?
Which it is, or which we say. But
Where do you land?
I say GIF.
Yeah.
I saw it on Jeopardy. The guy in a clue, he says it rhymes with GIF, and I saw that early, and that stuck with me. And I can't. I'm intransient, so I'm not good at changing. But anyway, most of us have probably seen GIFs or GIFs, moving images without sound,
And really not
emails.
video.
Nope.
It's a code thing, right?
Yeah, they're sort of like video. It's most analogous to the flip books that a lot of us did as kids.
That's great.
In a loop.
Yeah.
And so it's a full color video, but it's 5 seconds usually in a loop. And most of us have probably seen those in email banners, and they get your attention. And when used well, it can be really cool. When used not well, it can be kind of lame. But I saw one as a call to action button.
Oh, interesting.
The call to action button at the bottom of the email was sort of a gold color.
Okay.
And the GIF or GIF part was sort of that shine reflection that people draw.
So it sort of sparkled.
And it went across the
nice.
button, making it really look like a shiny gold button for you to click on. And
Your golden ticket.
yeah, but that didn't make the email subject or topic any more interesting. But it really got my attention, and I actually clicked, and I wasn't going to. And that's a place I hadn't thought about trying to put in a GIF or GIF.
Yeah, that's great. And that is. So have you emailed the team and said, "Hey, let's look for GIF opportunities"?
In the call to action button, I did last week.
I wondered.
We've done it in the email or in the banner,
Right.
But had never even looked into.
So just a little sparkle, you know.
And not everybody, your design motif may not be gold shiny buttons, but maybe a flashing button if it's a last chance if you're running out of a match, or maybe you just want to have a border around your button of a different color and have that border run around.
Rotate, yeah. And that's not going to use up a lot of. It's not space, but memory.
No, it won't add time to load.
Yeah.
And because that's the other consideration. You don't want to get too fancy. Yeah. And the goal there is that's just another way to get attention.
Yeah.
And if you can get attention in your email, that's 90% of the battle.
Okay. Very cool. All right. So I really wish you'd let me go first because now this is going to be.
Yours doesn't have a gold button.
I don't have a gold button. It's sort of dumb, but it also sort of fits. So stay with me on this.
All right.
So I got a piece of direct mail, and I'm going to hold off. And if this is your first listen, I'm not always the guy with direct mail. So it's not.
No, that's usually me.
Yeah, you often have that. So anyway, but you don't usually bring your homework, and so because often you're telling about when they got thrown away or the dog ate or something like that you don't bring. I
rarely bring my homework.
I've been thinking about contrast, and not the contrast from photography or imagery where it's the difference between light and dark, which is a contrast and it's helpful, but just the drawing of contrast. And so one of the things that I got a piece of direct mail this week, and one of the things that got my attention for the podcast, I was paying attention to this because it's actually from a client. Everything is typeset, right? And everything is appropriate colors and it works well. And then we use a little arrow squiggle that's clearly a handwriting arrow squiggle. In fact, it even looks a little pencilish or like a felt tip or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's not smooth.
Yep.
And it occurred to me that many times people are thinking so much about, what they imagine great design to be, or what they imagine, the look should be, that it becomes homogenous. It blends in. And I was really struck by how much my eye, even knowing this was a client, even knowing I had reviewed this work, it caught my eye, and I looked where the arrow pointed, because it was the only thing in my view, and I'm not wanting to show client work here, but
even though it is awesome, we do great work.
Well, yeah, but we're trying not to advertise. It was the only thing pointing. It was the only thing not clearly smooth typeset design.
Everything else, like you said, is typeset. It's letters.
Yeah.
And this had a squiggle has movement. And
So it's like an analog
version.
GIF.
Yeah, and if you had 4 of those envelopes, you could flip them really fast and it could move.
Okay, next
Print
time
costs might go up
next time
a
I'm
little
coming in with technology, because I just made me feel old.
But I think that is an analog version of that, because the goal of that squiggle, and you listening probably have done a version of that, or that exactly, is to get not just attention but direct the eye somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
And doing that with a GIF, with a GIF, or a flashing button, sirens, a squiggle, handwriting in the margin.
Sirens are harder, just going to say.
That could be hard to do in print.
Yeah. Anyway, so contrast is a lot more than just what you see in a photo or an image. Contrast is, one of the things you and I are drawing is contrast between us. One of the things that we want to do is contrast between our company and the other guys who may or may not do great work, but just draw contrast. And that is a powerful marketing, promotion, attention, influence tool.
Mm-hmm.
Contrast.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Not Your Father's Fundraising Podcast.